So for the first one, for all these are called proportions when you have two fractions that are equal to each other. And to solve this, we just cross multiply. So we're going to have x times 10 is going to equal 7 times 3. X times 10 is, we can rewrite that as 10x if we want to, and then 7 times 3 is 21. And then 10x means 10 times x, so the opposite or inverse of that is division. And we divide both sides by 10, and that's going to give us 2.1. For all of these, we could actually put the value into the original equation just to make sure that it works. I'm only going to do it for this first one. So if we put 2.1 in for x, we're going to have 2.1 over 3 equals 7 divided by 10. We can use our calculator if we want to. 2.1 divided by 3 is 0.7, and 7 tenths is 0.7, so this would check out. That's the only one I'm going to check my answer for, I think. So the next one is 8 times 20, just cross multiplying, equals 17 times 4. 8 times 20 is just 28. It's customary to put the number in front of the letter. And 17 times 4, I believe, is 68. Then we would divide both sides by 20. And that's going to give us 3.4. And the next one, we're still going to cross multiply. So we're going to have this one 8 times 5 equals 21 times b. 8 times 5 is 40. And 21 times b is still 21b. So when we divide both sides by 21, this may be the best way to leave our answer. So if it wants an exact form, we're going to say 40 over 21 is going to equal b. If we want to round it, then it'll tell us to what decimal to round it to. So we could say it's about 1.90, we'll say 48. So it just depends on whether they tell you to round it. And the last one on here, negative c times 16 equals 13 times 20. Barely squeeze that in there. We have negative 16c, and 13 times 20 is 260. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 16. And that's going to give us c is going to equal negative 16.25. So go ahead and pause it if you need more time on this page. So we're going to graph these. We're going to start by identifying the y-intercept. So for this first one, it's a positive 4. So we put a dot at 4, 0, comma 4. It's the same thing as if I were to put 0 into that equation, a 4 would equal would be y. So if we put 0 in there, I won't do this for all of them, but negative 2/5 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 4 is 4, and that's going to be the point, 0, comma 4. We're going to use just the method here of looking at the slope, which is the number in front of x. Notice that we have the number or the letter y by itself. So the number in front of x, that's the slope, and this is negative 2/5. So we're going to look over here, we're going to go down 2 and right 5 from the first dot. So we're going to count down 2, which is right here. Then we're going to go over 5, which takes us over here. This is the point 5, comma 2. And then we're going to draw a straight line through it. All right, the next one we see is y equals 2x minus 1. So we're going to start at the y-intercept, which is in the negative 1. So I'll go down and put a dot at the negative 1 there in the y-intercept. And the slope is 2, which is really the same thing as 2 over 1. So that means I'm going to go up 2 and right 1 from the first dot. So up 2 and then right 1. I put a dot there. This is the coordinates 1, 1. And then I draw a straight line that goes through both of those points. The next one, y equals negative 1, can throw off a lot of students. This is the same thing as writing y equals 0x minus 1. So what we do is we put a dot at negative 1 on the y-intercept. And then we draw a straight line that goes left and right. And I'll try to freehand this one, but not too bad there. So that's a straight line right through the y equals negative 1. Now, if it was, do this in a different color, you will probably see this in the test. If the question was, okay, let's graph x equals 2, then you go to x equals 2, which is right here, and then you would draw a straight line that goes up and down at that point. And the next one, y equals negative x plus 4. Well, the y-intercept is a positive 4, so we'll put a dot there. And this is the same thing as writing y equals negative 1x plus 4. And we can divide any number by 1 without changing it, so that's the fraction form. So that means we're going to go down 1 and right 1 from the first point. So we're going to go down 1 and right 1, which gives us the second dot there. And some teachers will do it a couple times, which is definitely useful if you're pencil and paper to minimize an error. And then you just draw a line that goes through all the points. So this one, we're just going to be slightly careful with how we line it up. So it says each candy bar costs the same price, so it's linear then, or proportional. What is the price for one candy bar? So we're just going to do the cost, which is going to be $5.88. And you can do this for any of them, divided by 7 candy bars. I'll use CB there for candy bars. And when we put that in the calculator, 5.88 divided by 7, we're going to get 84 cents per candy bar. Now this next one is similar. We're so used to putting the dollar first, and we don't have to. So it says we got 7 bags of chips cost $30.32. Different question than the one with the candy bar. So we got 7, let's say, bags divided by $30.32. If we do it this way, 7 divided by 30.32 is about 0.2308. It does say there to round to the nearest hundredth. I'll slide that in the view. So that's going to give us 0.2308 bags per dollar, which we're not really used to seeing it like that. And rounding that to the nearest hundredth is the second decimal. Second spot after decimal. So that'd be 0.23. Now where we're used to doing this is the dollars per bag. So this time we put the cost on top, and this would be $30.32 divided by 7 bags. And it's going to be about 4.331 dollars per bag. And round that to the nearest hundredth, that's the second number after decimal, would be 4.33. So go ahead and pause it if you need more time on this page. So for these, we want to get y by itself. We want to turn these into slope-intercept forms. We want to get y by itself. So we got to move the 2x to the other side. Now we're not going to divide because we're not splitting the number from the letter. We're going to move the whole thing over. So the opposite or the inverse of a positive 2x is a negative 2x. So we're going to subtract 2x on both sides. And then when we get that, we're going to have negative 4y equals negative 10 minus 2x. And I'm going to rewrite this just to put the x first. So this will be negative 4y equals negative 2x minus 10. And then the opposite or inverse of the multiplication there is negative 4 times y is divided. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. And that's going to leave us with y equals negative 2 divided by negative 4. We could say that is 1/2, or we could say 0.5. It should accept either answer. And negative 10 divided by negative 4 is a positive 2.5. The next one, we're going to distribute the 5. So 5 times 2x is 10x. And 5 times 4 is 20. So we have y minus 3 equals that. Then we're going to add 3 both sides. And our final answer will be y equals 10x plus 23. And the last one, you may want to pause it and try it. It's very similar to the one we just did. So we're going to distribute the negative 2 first. So that gives us negative 12x. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. We have a negative 2 times a negative 3, which is a positive 6. Then we're going to get rid of that positive 8. And the opposite inverse of that is a negative 8. So we subtract negative 8 on both sides. And that gives us y equals negative 12x minus 2. So go ahead and pause it before we go on to the next page. So we're just going to find the missing x and y values. So if we're given the point 2 comma y, then y is going to equal what? Well, we take the 2 and we put it in for x. So this would be y is going to equal negative 8 times 2, which is negative 16. And then for the next one, over here, that says we have the value of y, which is 24. So when y is 24, we know that's going to equal negative 8x. To solve that, we would divide both sides by negative 8. And that's going to be negative 3 is going to equal x. And for the next one, same idea. We got y equals 3x this time, so you might want to pause it and try this one yourself. So if x equals 8 is what we have here, then we put that value in, because all these go in the form of x comma y. So we're going to, if I can write today, y is going to equal 3 times 8. So y equals 24. And for the last one here, if now we're given that y equals 33, that's what this means. So put that in the equation, 33 equals 3x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by 3. That's going to give us x equals 11. So go ahead and pause it if you need more time on this page. And for this one, how many total minutes did Tim stop the rest? We're going to look at this graph. So just take a minute and kind of look at this. So the first one says, how many total minutes did Tim stop the rest? Well, notice on the bottom that the squares are counted up by 2, which is going to be important. So Tim, I should say what he's doing here, but he's riding his bike or something. So when he's not moving, this is his distance from home. So when he's not moving, it's flat. So we don't know how long that line is. So this is 2 minutes there, 2, that's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it looks like he stopped for 12 minutes to rest. How many times does he get closer to home? Well, this is home right there at the bottom. So when it goes down, that means it's getting closer. That's 1 time, and this is 2 times. So Tim's getting closer 2 times there. And then we want to find out the speed from 18th minute to the 20th minute. Well, here's 8 minute 18, and here's minute 20 way down here. So we're just going to look at the differences in, well, this is the slope equation, really. So I'm just going to make it a little more complicated than it needed to be, but here's your slope formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So down here's the point 20 comma 0. And up here is going to be the point 18 comma 18. And I'm going to take a moment just to identify what my x's and y's are. So this can be my first x, my first y, my second x, and my second y. And I put those values in. So I'm going to do 0 minus 18 over 20 minus 18. That's going to give us negative 18 over 2, which is negative 9. And since we are using speed, it can't be negative, so we put a 9 in there. So he's going to go 9 miles per minute there, which is very, very fast. He must not ride a bike. He must be really fast in a car. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me.